I like to say that AI plus the EI of Filipino agents is a combination that will be very good for the customer. Take personal responsibility for your skill set. It's not so much a question of what your college degree was. It's about your present skill set. I think voice will always have its rightful place in CX.
Hello everyone, welcome to another Iris Pod, and delighted today to be joined by two special guests. Jacobi Anstruther, our CEO and founder, but also Jack Madrid, joining us live and direct from the Philippines, the CEO of IBPAP, and we're going to dig into the industry in the Philippines, the industry as a whole globally, and really get some thoughts from Jack and Jacobi on this evolving industry. So first of all, welcome Jacobi and welcome Jack.
Thank you so much, and greetings from Manila.
Well, it's good to have you with us. Jack, let's start here. Tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming CEO of IBPAP and what the industry body that you look after does for call centers in the Philippines.
I've been witness to the growth of the IT BPM industry over the past decades from more of an outsider's perspective. And when I got a call in late 2021, we were at the tail end of COVID. I was quite surprised at how the industry has grown to where it is today. 1.7 million strong workforce, delivering over $35 billion to the economy, which for a country such as the Philippines is a pretty significant pillar, I would say. And what we do as IBPAP is we are the voice of the industry's investors, locators, and all our employees. We have largely a combination of different objectives, which include regulatory and policy shaping across all levels of government. We are also responsible for communicating the need to address talent challenges, given the very fast pace of technology and how skills need to be updated very frequently to meet the talent skills gap. We also work together with our partners in telecom and property development to ensure that we build the right infrastructure across all parts of the Philippines, because no longer is our industry only based in Manila or Cebu, but we have operators basically in every city and province from north to south. This has become a national phenomenon, and that accelerated even faster during the pandemic, when we had to mobilize well over 1 million workers from what was then an unknown work from home remote work environment. So we mobilized them and their IT equipment back to their hometowns and home provinces. And looking back, nobody actually knew what was going to happen. Did we have the right connectivity? Did we have the right working conditions? We never had to work remotely before, but in a matter of weeks, we were able to deliver, the level of customer experience that our global customers have been enjoying. And without any significant dip in productivity or customer satisfaction. So that was, I would say, no small feat. And last but not least, one of the other things that IBPAP does is we are launching, or have just launched, an industry rebranding campaign to more accurately position the industry, as a long-term career opportunity for job seekers. So in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Jack, that's good to have you on here and good to chat and see you again. I mean, from our perspective, I've been spending more and more time in the Philippines as we build our footprint over there, IBPAP and Jack and his team have been sort of integral to us understanding the lay of the land. And there's some fascinating stats that come out of that. I mean, 10%, almost 10% of Filipino GDP is related to the call center industry, and IBPAP sits at the top of that. And so it's a really fascinating world and market to get into, particularly at this time as we are seeing this ebb and flow of how AI technology is affecting the call center industry, but still seeing this growth in many different areas, particularly in terms of the technicality of calls, the upskilling, as you mentioned, of the agents, and the length of calls, and how we're still seeing significant growth as branches shut down. And I think these are all interesting things we can get into and discuss this morning or this afternoon for you.
Exactly. I think, Jack, just to talk about one thing, and it's, I guess, the perceived idea that UK and other European and American companies, and probably the customers of those brands, perceive the call center that is in India or the Philippines or a country that has a lot of their industry based around call centers as a cheap option, and it's not going to deliver the customer service levels that you would otherwise get if you had someone in the UK speaking to you about your bank. It's just not the case anymore, is it? It's not a cheap option for offshoring your customer service department.
Well, we've been doing this for several decades now. 70% of our customer base happens to be from North America. So a few points to make. I mean, cost optimization will always be an important area in determining, this offshore, not offshore decision. But it's no longer just about labor cost arbitrage. At the end of the day, what our global customers expect from the Philippines as a destination is really, I would say, delivering a digital customer experience that results in a very, I would say, efficient resolution of the issue or the problem that needs to be solved. Obviously, cost will always be there, but I think inherent in the CX that the workforce in the Philippines delivers is really the communication skills that we are renowned to have, the empathy, I would say, which has always been the cornerstone of the type of CX that our workforce delivers, and really an efficient resolution of the issue being solved. So it's a combination of those factors. Of course, we can get into ease of doing business, especially with how large the industry has grown. But I think digital CX, all about resolving the issue in a satisfactory way, in an efficient way, is at the top of our customer priority.
One of the things I very much noticed when I spent time out there is there's a real cultural link between North America and the Philippines.
Absolutely. It started with the accent neutral, I guess, communication skills, our familiarity with North American and Western culture, and along with that, really just the overall agility and resilience of our workforce. It's not such a big deal to be working the night shift here. It's already embedded into our work culture, and I can't say the same thing for other IT BPM destinations. So it's a 24/7 business. If you look at the skyline of Manila, Cebu, and the other cities, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it's really had such a positive uh, economic effect to very to a large number of cities and provinces.
So when we talk about that cost optimization, which is obviously crucial for any business, but particularly a department in a business that's seen as a cost center rather than a revenue generative center, just talk to us about AI and how AI is going to transform this. And I guess I want to lead into the notion that AI does not mean less people in those roles.
Yeah, that's really the question at the top of many people's minds. Um, our workforce has been working with AI for quite some time. Of course, generative AI is supposed to be a game changer, and it probably is. It will accelerate changes, but adapting to new technology, including when chatbots first came out, when RPA first came out, there was some uncertainty about what does this really mean for job displacement. But if you look at the history of those changes, those proved to be more towards augmenting jobs rather than displacing them. I mean, in the past, I would say 15 years, if you look at a graph that we frequently present, you see, a very consistent growth trajectory in both headcount and revenue, regardless of technology changes or economic headwinds or the occasional natural disaster that sometimes happens in the Philippines. And if you look at our growth during the 3 years of COVID, we grew 260,000 new jobs in those 3 years. Wow. That's something. And that COVID experience, given that nobody knew what was really going to happen, actually unleashed a new wave of demand. There are actually new jobs that were never offshored in the past that are now being offshored. So it's really a confluence of different factors. We proved to the world that we could deliver CX. There were also some jobs that some Americans maybe didn't want to do anymore. Maybe this was part of the Great Resignation thing. But it really unleashed this demand that we can barely keep up with. And so never before have we focused on the need to upskill and right skill. And that includes really learning how to use AI tools so that we can be more productive. I mean, obviously, some jobs will be disrupted at some point, but that's not necessarily a bad thing given the talent demand versus supply situation. There's more of an opportunity to upskill and perform higher value services. So, I guess in the next year or two, we will see more jobs that are maybe repetitive in nature, lower value added in category that may be displaced, but that gives us the window to upskill and right skill our existing workforce.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, and we talk about that as a company a lot. We're AI first premium audio business. We look at how do we improve, optimize human performance within all kinds of arenas, but particularly within the call and contact center space. And I think what we're seeing, and Jack, you'd be able to back this up better than I will with data, but what we're seeing is that there's a shift to far more technical and premium voice. People want to speak to people want to speak to people, sorry. And that's sort of increasing, and all the graphs are showing that that's going, customer intent is going in that direction. But the more menial tasks, the easy tasks to do are being picked up by the bots and optimizing where you're spending for the premium. And then in line with that, we're also seeing a shift from a lot of clients to sort of removing the heavy costs of branches, etc. And therefore, the call center connection is really becoming their primary interaction with their customer. And therefore, the importance of upskilling the talent on your side, but also delivering a productive and efficient conversation to maintain some level of costs on it is becoming more and more important.
Over the past 7, 8 years, we've seen, a gradual shift in the type of complexity that our contact centers perform, moving quite steadily from low to medium to high, quite steadily in the past, 6 to 8 years. We're now at a point where a majority of the tasks we do are at least medium level complexity to high complexity, and this is something that we think will continue through 2028. And generative AI and any platforms that will be available should help augment the quality of jobs of our agents, and helping them progress towards more judgment sensitive and decision making types of situations. So we expect that the types of resolutions that our customers will expect will be higher in complexity, and to the extent that AI will help our agents resolve that is a net positive. And I just think it's potentially a win-win situation. I like to say that AI plus the EI of Filipino agents is a combination that will be very good for the customer. EI being emotional intelligence, of course.
Yeah. So you're seeing an increase in the average length of call, presumably from that. Does that mean there is a challenge for you, Jack, and the team at IBPAP to really think about the education of the agents and how you upskill on that side?
Jacobi, you mentioned there's been an increase in the length of
the average length of call because of the more complex nature of each call.
Yeah, that's certainly a factor that we need to address. Especially in the context of managing overall cost, right? We want to keep cost, under control, yet complexity goes up, and to the extent that technology helps us address that gap, that is going to be a net positive. The research that we've seen shows that areas where we could continue to improve CX is really managing these both the length of a call as well as the length of queuing, waiting for an agent to address. So, and it's a bit of a vicious cycle. One leads to another. So to the extent that AI platforms can help be a partner or a co-pilot, to an agent, I think CX will improve, and a big part of that is really resolution and shorter handle times.
Jack, how willing is the industry as a whole, but specifically in the Philippines, to adopting new technologies? Is it welcoming it with open arms? Is it a heavy lift in terms of the change management program? What does it look like to deploy a new technology in this market?
Well, that's a really good question. One thing I say about our young workforce is that they are highly adaptable. We are the youngest country in Asia, an average age of 25.3. And that means that, not only are we digitally savvy, we are also, I would say, very comfortable with all things social. And that means, you know, um, whether one is trained formally or not, we are in general very comfortable with technology. We have shown a history of being adaptive. We overcome difficulties, whether it be the challenges of navigating around a pandemic, or some of the congested traffic conditions in some cities in the Philippines. We have this spirit of being able to survive and thrive even in very difficult situations. So, and that includes being able to adapt to new technology. We've been through the cycle of learning, unlearning, relearning many times before. And I see no reason why AI will be any different. But it doesn't mean that we can relax and take things, take Gen AI as very lightly, because the I think one thing about AI is it keeps changing at a faster pace than anything we've seen before. And I think that's the only call out I would make, is that this one will be different. This one will be very fast, and it is more urgent than ever to to learn as much as you can, instead of spending time worrying about what's going to happen to my job. And this is what I say everywhere I go. Take personal responsibility for your skill set. It's not so much a question of what your college degree was. It's about your present skill set. And this is now the mantra that I encourage our ecosystem to remember.
It's funny because we were at a conference last week, partner conference, and probably 90% of the product discussion was about stuff that was pretty much non-human, which of course is what it's all about right now. But then the offline conversations with a beer or a coffee and a break were kind of hushly spoken voices going nowhere. It was interesting, wasn't it? Because I know AI is kind of everything right now, but I guess the true value will rise to the top out of it. There's still a lot of buzzword and a lot of noise about it, shall we say?
Well, being with the Philippines as, I would say, the voice capital
Yeah.
of the IT/DPM world, I think we will always have that position. I qualify that statement though with having the requisite domain skills, to be able to drive resolution. But in this era of automation technology, I really do believe that voice will always command a premium. And I think this is where having the appropriate skill sets, and comfort level with tech tools, such as whatever Gen AI can help, can assist the agent in delivering CX. I think these are all interconnected. But I think we are still quite ways away from seeing full automation. I think with complexity comes the need for more judgment and more decision making, and I think with the right skill sets, and not to mention the need for empathy. that our consumers continue to expect. I think voice will always have its rightful place in CX.
Let me quote a headline from the Wall Street Journal from 2020, and I'm sure you'll be familiar with this article. Is that a rooster on my customer support call? Yes, blame coronavirus. I guess the shift to home working, and then certainly the majority probably back to the office. Noise has always been something that we have to contend with in this industry, whether that's for reasons of confidentiality, focus, or just simply a better customer experience. Just talk to us about that dynamic and that particular headline from the Wall Street Journal from a few years back.
That was certainly a big part of the question mark in this transition to on-site to remote work. What's going to happen to the quality of the connectivity? What will the background, what is the background going to be of where, because nobody has a home office. Very, very few people. And so, whether it be background or the barking of an animal in the background, or just any kind of static noise, will always be a distraction. So I would say that the thing is, we're not going to go back ever, I don't believe, to a 100% on-site situation. I think we're already in the future of work. We're already there, and that is decidedly a hybrid. And so this work from anywhere situation is here to stay. And I think any technology that will improve, the quality of the voice conversation, that will result in faster resolution, will be paramount in CX, and I think the Philippines stands poised to benefit from in being able to deliver this CX. The majority of the ITBPM industry in the Philippines is contact center. Although we are increasingly delivering it through omni-channel platforms, voice will always be front and center in what we do. And I think that's where the Philippines has made its brand in ITBPM, and I think anything that helps us deliver that will be very exciting in the years ahead.
I saw an interesting stat once during COVID that was saying 70% of call center agents working from home were either working from a windowsill or an ironing board. And although that stat might be able to pick it apart a little bit, what was interesting to me about it is it gave real context to the kind of environment the agent might be in when working from home. And how do you control that uncontrollable environment? And whether that's in the call center operation itself, whether it's working from home or it's the client on the street in the cafe making the call during their busy lunch break or whatever it may be. And if we can bring control to those kind of environments, then you can only assume and show real data around increasing that productivity and reducing average handling time and all these key stats that really affect the cost of your operation.
Jack, your kind of cornerstone strategy for the industry in the years ahead falls under your Roadmap 2028 vision. Tell us a little bit about what that vision looks like and what it means for the industry in the Philippines, but also your clients that are global.
Our roadmap, which will take us through 2028, is really the blueprint of how we will achieve the goals of adding over 1 million more jobs in the next 5 years. We're on our second year of the roadmap, and happy to say that we have achieved about 25-26% of our jobs target. So far, we have good traction in both um, job growth and revenue growth. We expect to hit 1.84 million jobs by the end of this year, and hopefully approach 40 billion in revenue. That's going to be a slightly higher percentage of GDP. Now, how do we get there? We'll rest on four pillars. The first one, which is part of every roadmap that we do, is really staying on top of the ease of doing business. And a country like the Philippines, you know, it's always interesting. The way that, you know, the ebb and the flow of rules and regulations at not just the national level, but also at the local and regional level. So IBPAP, you know, will always have as a key priority. And every year there seems to be a new set of challenges, whether they be investor incentives, whether they be fighting for, you know, work flexibility, which was the story during COVID, or whether we need to do more convincing to whoever is you know, whoever the is running the government. You know, we have elections every 6 years after all, and just communicating the important role of our industry. And so regulatory and policy shaping will always be something that we do. In fact, right after this call, I'm going to go to a dinner with one of our senators and seeking help in some new tax bill that is being discussed at the Senate. So that is always going to be center of plate. Talent development is probably our most urgent challenge right now, given the demand and supply gap. We do have the demographics to meet demand, but the action needed, and this is something that not just IBPAP will need to communicate, but really will need the commitment of all other stakeholders, the government, the academia, and the private sector. Will all need to work together and ensure that our existing workforce and future job seekers will have the requisite skills, a combination of domain skills and I would say technical skills as well. Third will be infrastructure. Continue to work with the builders of workspaces, our telecom partners, and ensuring that every part of our country, you know, we have the right amount of connectivity and data centers, of course. You know, even in remote regions, we have member organizations setting up operations, and this has been a very good thing. No longer is this about Manila or Cebu, but we are really a national. I would say this industry has become a national phenomenon, and this has had, you know, this has unlocked some of the unique talent pools that our smaller cities and provinces have. There's a lot of very good universities, even in remote areas. So this has had mostly a positive effect on local economies. Last but not least, we need to do a better job in managing how our industry is pursued. For far too long, I would say for quite a number of different reasons, we have not really been perceived as an industry representing a long-term career. Many reasons for that, but we are out to change that, given our, given our large number, given the proven track record of being able to provide jobs for many Filipinos, and I think just focusing on the globally impactful and meaningful jobs that our 1.7 million workers have been doing, and making our workforce feel pride in what we do. And we just launched our rebranding campaign, I would describe the campaign as saying that IT BPM in the Philippines is much more than you ever thought it was, and that's really the heart of the campaign. It really rests on the 1.7 million workforce.
Yeah, Jacobi, how in our company's journey and the continued growth of Iris Clarity as a product, how important is the Filipino market for us?
Well, I mean, probably represented by the amount of times I'm going out there and the time I'm spending with Jack and some of the other key leaders of the industry out there. It's obviously the biggest addressable market in the smallest area, so it's very key for us. We're looking to build our own infrastructure out there, so we can support the channel partners and our own on-house employees. But we see it as a really key piece of the puzzle to win in this space. We have a lot of clients in the US. They're already outsourced into the Philippines. A lot of the business we do in the US is Filipino-centric. So, it's clearly the biggest player and the most important focus for us as we grow the business internationally.
Yeah. I think also, Jack, credit to you for embracing the technology and, us coming and seeing you. And I think what's important, and for other businesses out there seeking to do business in the Philippines, it's important to be on the ground, meeting you and people, face to face. I think, unfortunately, there's nothing that can, I guess it goes back to the premium voice conversation, right? Nothing beats the human contact that you can build rapport, relationships, and get important work done.
I couldn't agree more, Tom and Jacobi, and you can count on the support of the IBPAP team in strengthening your presence and visibility in our region.
I think that there's a lack of Western businesses who give the attention to actually get on a plane and get out there, and I can't understate the value that has shown to us, and the network, and Jack's network, and others who are the sort of key leaders in the industry out there. And as we see the industry very much consolidating, that becomes even more powerful in the next few years.
Jack, thank you so much for your time. We're out of time here. We've gone on for nearly 40 minutes, so we really appreciate your time. You need to get to your dinner. Important taxation matters to discuss as you go on this pathway to 1 million extra jobs by 2028. Good luck with that. Thank you for your partnership and support, and I hope to get out there soon and meet you as well.
Yeah, Jack, we'll see you soon in the Philippines in the summer. Looking forward to it.
Thank you for having me in the podcast, and I look forward to seeing you both in Manila soon.
Fantastic. And thank you for tuning in and listening to this conversation, fascinating conversation with Jack Madrid, CEO of IBPAP out in the Philippines. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jacobi.
Thank you. Bye, guys.